the galaxy never took Earth seriously. For centuries, humans were seen as young, weak, and noisy newcomers in a universe filled with ancient civilizations. The great empires laughed at Earth's fragile ships, at their small colonies, and at their endless arguments with each other. To them, humanity was nothing but a curious experiment, a race that reached the stars too fast without real power to defend itself. But things were about to change. The first whispers came from the outer colonies. Traders returned with stories of strange movements along the Orion Belt. Some spoke of fleets gathering, shadows of warships older than human history itself. At first, no one believed them. Humans were used to hearing threats but never being the target. Earth thought itself safe under the gaze of greater powers. Then, one night, deep in the black void near the Kepler line, a human patrol ship vanished. No distress call, no final message, only silence. When the wreckage was found weeks later, it was barely recognizable. Hull plates melted, crew vaporized, and strange scorch marks carved into the steel. The report said one thing: an unknown weapon was used. Commanders back on Earth argued. Some said it was pirates, others blamed natural space anomalies. But the silence of the colonies grew louder, and soon, more ships disappeared. Freighters, explorers, even armed escorts, all gone without warning. Whispers turned into fear. The Galactic Council, filled with arrogant voices of the older species, dismissed Earth's panic. The Zalari Prime called it human paranoia. The Zorith said humans should stay in their lanes. Even the peaceful Aura T told Earth to avoid making noise, or they would attract predators they could not fight. But humanity had already seen predators. The survivors of ancient wars on Earth knew the taste of fire and steel. The blood of millions lost in human history still ran deep. And while the galaxy thought humans weak, they forgot one thing: humanity had been preparing. Hidden under the oceans, buried beneath mountains, and stationed on the far edges of the solar system, there was a new fleet, one the galaxy had never seen before. They were called Dreadnoughts. These ships were not graceful like alien cruisers, nor elegant like the vessels of the Aura T. They were monstrous, brutal in design, and built for one purpose: destruction. Entire continents had poured their industries into them. They carried weapons that bent physics to the breaking point, cannons that could tear moons apart, and armor thicker than most space stations. But no one outside Earth knew of their existence. For now, they slept in silence, hidden under the veil of secrecy, waiting for the day humanity would need them. That day came faster than expected. It started with the fall of Vega Colony. Vega was a proud settlement of almost 200,000 humans, a beacon of progress. Its towers rose above crimson deserts, its starport welcomed trade from across the sector. Then, in less than 1 hour, it was gone. The attack came without warning. Witnesses, those few who managed to escape, spoke of black ships that blotted out the stars, weapons that rained fire like a second sun. Entire districts vanished in seconds. Defenses crumbled like paper. The enemy never sent a demand, never gave a reason. They came only to destroy. Earth received the message with horror. Across the planet, people gathered in silence as the news spread. Families cried for their lost ones. Politicians shouted in anger. But in the dark halls of military command, the Dreadnought program was finally awakened. Admiral Kalen, a man who had served in silence for decades, stood before the Council of Nations. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with something more than duty. "The galaxy thinks we are weak," he said. "They think we are nothing but children playing with toys. But now we face a predator that does not laugh. We will not beg for mercy. We will not hide. It is time to show them what Earth has built." One by one, the lights across the solar system flickered as massive hangars opened. From the oceans of Europa, titanic shapes began to rise, water cascading off armored hulls. From under the ice of Antarctica, hidden ports cracked open, revealing shadows of giants. And from silent orbital docks, ships larger than cities drifted free, engines glowing with power. The first dreadnought to awaken was named Eternal Resolve. Its cannons glowed like burning suns, its hull marked with scars from endless testing. One by one, others followed: Iron Will, Nightfall, Valiant Fury, and many more. Each name carried the weight of Earth's history, a reminder of wars survived, of battles won against impossible odds. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's strength. But laughter turned to silence as strange signals spread through the void, new human warships moving in perfect formation, their size dwarfing anything the old empires had ever fielded. And in that silence, a new fear was born. Because for the first time, humanity was not running. Humanity was coming. The first fleet of dreadnoughts moved like shadows across the stars. Their engines burned with steady light, each one carrying more firepower than an entire nation once did on Earth. For centuries, humans had dreamed of ships like these, and now they were no longer dreams, they were weapons of survival. The enemy was still unknown. No message, no name, no warning. They came only to kill, and Vega was proof of their hunger. But Earth's commanders were not blind anymore. Scouts had tracked the strange signatures of those black warships. They were gathering again, near the outer rim, close to the mining colonies. Admiral Kalen stood on the command deck of the Eternal Resolve, his eyes fixed on the stars ahead. The room around him hummed with low voices and steady clicks of machines. Officers moved with quiet discipline, their faces set with determination. None of them had forgotten Vega. "Admiral," said Commander Rhea, one of his most trusted officers. "Long-range sensors confirm it. Multiple ships, holding formation near the asteroid belt. Their numbers, at least 20. 20 ships. Enough to wipe out a colony in minutes." Kalen's jaw tightened. "And how many dreadnoughts do we have ready?" 6, sir. The rest are still arming." 6 against 20. To the galaxy, it would look like madness. But these were not ordinary human ships. The Eternal Resolve alone carried enough firepower to shatter continents. And humanity had something else too, something the older races never understood. They had the will to fight. The order went out. Across the fleet, alarms sounded, and crews rushed to battle stations. Massive cannons unlocked from their armored housings. Missile bays hissed open, revealing hundreds of warheads waiting for release. Deep inside the ships, reactors roared louder, their energy pulsing through veins of steel. Far away, in the black of space, the enemy moved. They were unlike anything seen before. Black, spiked hulls that seemed to drink light instead of reflecting it. Their weapons glowed with a sickly green energy, and their engines cut through the void with sharp precision. They moved like predators, fast, silent, confident. The first encounter began without words. The alien fleet fired. Streams of green light tore through space, faster than the eye could follow. Asteroids cracked apart as the beams ripped through them. The void lit up with sudden fire. Any ordinary ship would have been torn to pieces. But the Eternal Resolve did not fall. The first beam struck its shields, bending space itself around the hull. The ship trembled but held. The crew cheered, their fear burning away in that single moment. Humanity was not fragile anymore. "Return fire," Kalen commanded. The dreadnought answered with thunder. A main cannon charged, glowing hotter and brighter until it became a miniature sun. Then it released its fury. A beam of pure destruction tore across the void, striking one of the black ships square in the center. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the alien ship exploded in a wave of fire, its broken hull scattering like ashes in the wind. Silence filled the command deck. Humanity had just destroyed something the galaxy feared. But the enemy did not retreat. More of their ships broke formation and surged forward, weapons blazing. The battle turned into chaos. Space itself seemed to shatter as beams, missiles, and explosions filled the void. The dreadnoughts fought like giants, their guns hammering against the alien assault. The ship Iron Will took heavy fire. Its shields flickered, its hull dented under the alien barrage. But even as sparks rained inside its corridors, the crew kept fighting. They launched volleys of missiles that burst into clouds of fire, tearing two enemy ships apart. On the Valiant Fury, Commander Harker stood at the front of the bridge, his voice steady as he gave orders. Hold the line. Show them what humans are made of. His ship's cannons roared in response, carving another black vessel into burning debris. One by one, the aliens fell. But humanity was bleeding too. A sudden beam struck the Nightfall, slicing through its side. Entire decks were ripped open to the void. Hundreds of crew were lost in an instant. Yet even crippled, the ship did not retreat. Its last act was to fire all remaining torpedoes at once, slamming into 3 enemy ships and dragging them into destruction with it. Admiral Kalen gripped the edge of the console, his face grim. The price was already high, but humanity could not falter. If they fell here, Earth itself would be next. Push forward, he ordered. No retreat. The Eternal Resolve led the charge, blasting through enemy lines. Its cannons thundered, its shields blazed, its engines screamed with power. And behind it, the remaining Dreadnoughts followed, tearing into the enemy like wolves among prey. When the dust settled, the battlefield was a graveyard. Wrecks drifted silently, flames flickering against the black. The alien fleet was broken, 12 ships destroyed, the rest retreating into the void. The humans had won. But it was not a clean victory. 1 dreadnought lost, 2 heavily damaged, and thousands of lives gone. Still, word of the battle spread like wildfire. Across the colonies, across Earth, and even across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. The galaxy had mocked Earth's weakness. But now they whispered a new word. Fear. Because for the first time in living memory, an ancient predator had been forced to retreat. And it was not because of the old empires. It was because of humanity. The Galactic Council had not met in full assembly for over a century. The chamber was vast, carved into the heart of a hollowed asteroid, filled with glowing banners of 100 species. Here, the voices of the great empires echoed across the stars. But on this day, those voices were uneasy. The news of the battle at Vega had spread faster than light itself. Every network, every whisper channel, every wandering merchant carried the same story. The humans had fought the unknown invaders and won. Not only won, they had done what even the elder races feared to attempt. They had destroyed them. The council chamber buzzed with disbelief. "This is impossible," hissed the delegate of the Zalari, their long neck coiling with irritation. "Humans are children. They build clumsy machines and shout too loud. They cannot stand against the predators." "They did more than stand," replied the Orati speaker, her calm voice cutting through the noise. "They broke an enemy fleet and forced it to retreat. That is not chance. That is power." The Zorath ambassador slammed a clawed fist on the table. "Power? They have no power. They are reckless apes who stumble into fights they cannot finish. If they won, it was luck, nothing more." Yet the chamber was not convinced. Too many witnesses had seen the aftermath. Traders had flown past the battlefield, recording the wrecks of alien warships. Images of burning hulks now circled across the galaxy. The humans had not only survived, they had shattered a fleet twice their size. The council's high speaker, an ancient being of crystalline form, raised a glowing hand for silence. The voices faded, though unease lingered. "We must face what has happened. The predators struck at Vega. They did not send warnings. They did not send demands. They came only to kill. And humanity met them in battle, and prevailed." A murmur ran through the chamber. For the first time in centuries, the predators had been stopped. The Orati speaker leaned forward. "Do you not see what this means? Humanity may be the first line of defense for us all. If the predators rise in greater numbers, we will need them." But the Zalari delegate shook their head, scales gleaming under the chamber lights. "No. This is dangerous. The humans were always loud, always ambitious. Now they have weapons we did not know about. Did you see the size of those ships? Dreadnoughts, they call them. Monstrosities. What else have they been hiding?" Fear rippled through the assembly. The council had always kept humans at arm's length, laughing at their fragile fleets and endless quarrels. But if humanity now possessed ships that could destroy predator vessels, what did that mean for the balance of power? The Zorith leaned forward, their eyes glowing like molten iron. I say we cannot allow this. Today they fight the predators. Tomorrow, who will they fight? Perhaps us. The Orati speaker's tone sharpened. Would you rather the predators remain unchallenged? Would you prefer silence and fear? Humanity has spilled blood to protect their colonies, while the Council debates endlessly. Maybe it is time we respect their strength. The chamber fell into argument. Some demanded that humanity be brought into the Council at last, recognized as a true power. Others warned that giving humans legitimacy would only fuel their ambition. High Speaker's voice cut through once more. Enough. The Council cannot ignore what has happened. Humanity has revealed a strength none of us expected. Whether we welcome them or fear them, one truth remains: the predators have returned. And humanity may be the only force that can face them. The words left the chamber heavy with silence. Outside the Council, the galaxy listened. The smaller races, long bullied by greater powers, whispered with hope. If humans could fight the predators, perhaps they could stand for others too. Traders spoke of opportunities, of alliances. Rebels in forgotten corners raised human flags. But in the darker halls of power, fear grew sharper. Some empires began to arm their fleets, not against the predators, but against Earth. And deep in the void, the predators themselves stirred. The loss at Vega had not been forgotten. From their hidden worlds, vast forges roared to life, building ships larger and darker than before. Their leaders hissed in fury, their voices promising vengeance. To them, humanity was no longer prey. Humanity had become a threat. Back on Earth, Admiral Kalen read the intercepted whispers from the Council. Some spoke of alliance, others of betrayal. He stood on the bridge of the Eternal Resolve, gazing at the stars. The galaxy is watching us now, he said quietly. But they do not understand. We are not fighting for power. We are fighting to survive. And survival is something humanity has always known better than anyone. The stars burned in silence, but Kalen knew the silence would not last. The predators would come again. And this time, they would come stronger. Far beyond the edge of known space, where stars burned faint and cold, a hidden world turned in silence. It was not mapped on any chart, not spoken of in any council record. Here, the predators had lived in secret for longer than most civilizations had existed. On the surface, black towers rose like jagged teeth against the sky. The air shimmered with green fire, and vast forges burned day and night, building ships of war. The loss at Vega was not forgotten. For the first time in countless cycles, their fleets had been broken. And not by the old empires, not by the mighty Zorith or the cunning Zalari. By humans. Inside the throne chamber of the Predator leader, the atmosphere trembled with rage. The High Devourer, a towering figure wrapped in dark armor, sat upon a throne of bone and steel. His many eyes glowed like burning coals, and his voice rumbled like thunder when he spoke. "Explain," he demanded. A captain bowed low, his body scarred from battle. "Great Devourer," the prey resisted. Their ships were not as before. They carried weapons strong enough to pierce our armor. One ship alone destroyed 3 of ours. The chamber shook as the High Devourer rose to his full height. His claws scraped against the metal floor, sparks flying. Prey does not kill hunters. Prey does not fight back. Humanity has broken the order. They must be punished. The captains gathered around, their voices filled with fury. "They are young," hissed one. "They should not have such weapons. They hide strength," snarled another. "Perhaps others gave it to them." But the High Devourer shook his head slowly. "No. I have studied them. These humans build in secret. They are restless, reckless, always reaching for more. And now they dare to challenge us." The chamber fell silent at his next words. "They must be erased." The forges roared louder. Vast new ships took shape, their hulls thicker, their weapons deadlier. The predators had always believed themselves unstoppable. For ages, they had struck at colonies, devoured worlds, and vanished back into shadow. None had stood against them. The old empires had grown fat and afraid, hiding behind treaties and excuses. But humans were different. Humans did not hide. Humans burned with something the predators had not faced in millennia: defiance. A younger warrior spoke, his voice trembling with eagerness. "Great Devourer, allow me to lead the next strike. I will bring you their world itself. I will burn Earth." The High Devourer turned his many eyes toward the warrior. For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then a low growl rumbled from his throat, both approval and warning. "You will strike, but you will not underestimate them. Humanity is dangerous prey. They fight as though every battle is their last. They are clever, desperate, and they do not break easily. Remember this, or you will join the wreckage of Vega." The warrior bowed deeply, fear and pride mixed in his movements. Beyond the chamber, fleets assembled. Hundreds of ships, larger than before, shaped with cruel precision. They carried weapons designed not only to destroy, but to terrify. Planet killers, devices that could burn oceans and shatter cities in a single strike. The predators had a new goal now. Not just raids, not just destruction of colonies. They would strike at Earth itself. As the fleet prepared, whispers spread through their ranks. Some feared humanity, calling them the new hunters. Others mocked them, saying the first victory was only luck. But deep inside, a seed of doubt had been planted. If prey could kill predators, what did that mean? Back on Earth, no one knew yet how close danger had come. Humanity celebrated the victory at Vega, not realizing it had only awakened a greater storm. But in the cold darkness of the predator world, a vow had been made. The High Devourer raised his claws to the burning sky. His voice thundered across the chambers, echoed by thousands of warriors below. Humanity will fall. Their world will burn. And their name will be erased from the stars. The roar that followed shook the towers of the predator city. Ships launched one by one, engines glowing with deadly fire. The hunt was beginning again, and this time, it would not stop at colonies. The predators were coming for Earth. On Earth, the night sky glittered with stars, but few looked at them with wonder anymore. Every colony, every outpost, every family now stared upward with fear. The predators would not forgive Vega. Everyone knew they would return. The only question was when. In the deep chambers of Earth's Defense Command, the air was heavy with tension. Screens flickered with maps of the solar system, glowing red lines marking possible invasion routes. Generals, admirals, and leaders from every nation sat around a vast table, their faces grim. Admiral Kalen stood at the center. His voice was steady, but each word carried weight. "We have won one battle. But this war is not finished. The predators will come again, stronger, faster, and with numbers we have not yet seen. If we wait for them at our door, Earth will fall." Some of the council members shifted uneasily. One spoke, his voice sharp. "We cannot move too far, Admiral. Our people are afraid. We must protect Earth first." Another leaned forward. "And what of the council? The old empires already fear us. If we expand our fleets, they may turn against us as well." Kalen's eyes hardened. "The galaxy's fear does not matter. What matters is survival. If we hide, Earth will burn. If we prepare, we might stand a chance." Silence followed. Everyone in the chamber knew he was right. Humanity was walking a narrow line, between predators that wanted them dead, and empires that feared their strength. Outside the chambers, the work never stopped. In the shipyards of Mars, massive skeletons of new dreadnoughts stretched across the docks. Workers in exosuits welded steel plates the size of buildings, sparks flying like falling stars. Factories across Earth and the colonies roared day and night, building weapons, armor, and engines of war. For the first time in history, humanity was united. Nations that once fought over borders now shared blueprints. Colonies that argued over trade now sent resources without hesitation. Even old enemies shook hands, bound together by the shadow of extinction. But fear still lived in every heart. On Lunabase, children practiced evacuation drills, learning how to hide in shelters if the alarms sounded. Families whispered prayers into the dark. Soldiers sharpened their blades and checked their rifles, knowing most of them would never see Earth again. In the quiet hours, Admiral Kalen walked the decks of the Eternal Resolve. He passed rows of soldiers, engineers, and pilots, each preparing in silence. He stopped beside Commander Rhea, who stood by a viewport, watching the stars. "They're coming," she said softly. Kalen nodded. "Yes. And this time, they will come for more than colonies. They want Earth itself." Rhea's jaw tightened. "Then we cannot wait for them to reach it. We must meet them in the void." Kalen studied her face. She was young compared to him, but her eyes carried the same fire he had seen in countless soldiers before her. The fire of humanity's refusal to bow. "You're right," he said. "But if we strike too soon, we risk losing everything. We must choose our ground carefully." At that moment, an alarm echoed through the bridge. Officers rushed to their stations as fresh data filled the screens. Long-range probes had detected movement at the edge of human space. Not just a few ships. A fleet. The silence on the deck was heavy. Numbers scrolled across the display, hundreds of signatures, larger than anything seen before. The Predators were coming. Kalen's voice cut through the tension. "Signal all fleets. Ready every ship. The time has come." Across the solar system, the call went out. From Europa's icy seas, hidden dreadnoughts rose once again. From Titan's methane skies, launch bays opened to release bombers. On Earth, factories shifted to maximum production, while civilians prepared shelters and evacuation corridors. And still, the question burned in every mind: could humanity survive the storm that was coming? As Kalen stood before his officers, he spoke the words that would echo across every ship and every colony. "Remember Vega. Remember the ones we lost. The Predators think we are weak, but they do not understand. We fight not for conquest, not for empire. We fight because this is our home, and no one takes it from us. Not now. Not ever." The crew answered with a roar that shook the walls. For a moment, fear was gone. For a moment, humanity remembered who they were. A species that had faced extinction countless times before, and always endured. The Predators were on their way. The galaxy doubted them. But humanity was ready. And this time, the fire of Earth would not burn alone, it would burn across the stars. The sky above Earth turned red with fire. The Predators had come. Their fleet arrived in silence, hundreds of black warships slipping into orbit like shadows swallowing the light. They did not send warnings, they did not speak. They only opened fire. Beams of green energy rained down on Earth's defenses. Satellites shattered, defense stations exploded, and the upper atmosphere lit up like a storm. On the ground, billions looked up and saw streaks of fire cutting across the night sky. But Earth was not unprepared. From the oceans, the dreadnought Eternal Resolve rose like a titan, water cascading from its armored hull. From Mars, the Iron Will and Valiant Fury launched with engines blazing, pulling massive fleets of escorts behind them. On Europa, the rebuilt Nightfall II awakened, its cannons humming with power. Within hours, humanity's great war fleet gathered above their homeworld. Dozens of dreadnoughts, hundreds of cruisers, and swarms of fighters formed walls of steel between Earth and the Predators. Admiral Kalen stood at the command deck of the Eternal Resolve, his eyes locked on the enemy lines. They filled the stars, an endless black tide. His voice was steady as he gave the order. "Engage." The void exploded. Thousands of missiles streaked through space, leaving burning trails behind them. Cannons thundered, releasing beams of pure light that cut across the darkness. Human fighters swarmed like angry wasps, darting between predator ships and striking at their weak points. The Predators answered with fury. Green lances of energy ripped through space, tearing apart smaller ships in seconds. Fighters vaporized, cruisers cracked in two, and even the mighty dreadnoughts shuddered under the storm. The battle was chaos. The Iron Will drove straight into enemy lines, its shields blazing as it absorbed strike after strike. Its cannons roared in response, destroying 3 Predator warships in a single barrage. But the cost was brutal. Enemy fire pierced its hull, exploding entire decks. Still, it fought on, refusing to fall. The valiant Fury led a squadron of bombers on a desperate run. Together, they dropped warheads the size of buildings into the heart of the Predator fleet. The explosion lit up the void like a second sun, consuming 5 enemy ships in one blast. But only half the bombers returned. On the nightfall too, Commander Rhea shouted orders as alarms blared around her. Shields were collapsing, engines were failing, but she refused to retreat. "Hold your ground. If they want Earth, they'll have to tear us apart first." Her ship's final barrage destroyed 2 Predator vessels before flames swallowed its bridge. Admiral Kalen's voice echoed across all channels. "Do not break. Humanity stands together." His words lit a fire in every heart. Across the battlefield, even damaged ships refused to retreat. Crews fought until their last breath, turning wrecks into weapons, ramming Predator ships when their guns failed. Civilians on the ground watched the burning sky, whispering prayers, their fear mixing with pride. But the Predators were not done. From the heart of their fleet, a colossal warship emerged, larger than any seen before. Its hull was jagged black steel, its core glowing with sickly green fire. It was a planet killer, built to burn entire worlds. The sight froze every human commander. One blast from its cannon could turn Earth's oceans to steam. Kalen clenched his fists. "Target the planet killer. All ships, focus fire." The eternal resolve surged forward, leading the charge. Its cannons unleashed everything, beams cutting into the monster's shields. Other dreadnoughts followed, hurling fire with desperate fury. The void shook with the clash of titans. The Predator warship powered its main cannon. A sphere of green energy grew larger and brighter, aimed directly at Earth. Humanity's time was running out. "Push harder," Kalen roared. The Iron Will, already burning, made the ultimate choice. Its captain locked its course straight into the planet killer. Flames spread across its decks, but still it moved, faster and faster, engines screaming. "Tell Earth," the captain's final message echoed. "We are not afraid." The Iron Will slammed into the Predator ship. The explosion tore through space, ripping apart the planet killer in a blinding storm of fire. The shockwaves spread across the battlefield, scattering Predator ships like leaves in a storm. Silence followed. Then cheers erupted across every human channel. The Predators broke formation. Their fleet, once endless, now faltered. One by one, they turned and fled into the void, leaving only wreckage behind. Humanity had won again. But the price was heavy, half the fleet lost, thousands of lives gone. Earth itself trembled, scarred by fire raining from above. On the eternal resolve, Kalen stood in silence, staring at the ruins of the Iron Will. His heart ached, but his voice was firm. "They wanted to break us. Instead, we showed them what it means to fight for home." The stars above Earth burned brighter that night, lit by the fire of sacrifice. Humanity was alive, but the war was far from over. Because somewhere in the darkness, the Predators were already building again. The galaxy was silent after the battle for Earth. For weeks, Predator ships did not appear. Their fleets retreated into the dark, leaving only wreckage scattered across the void. But the scars of war remained. Half of humanity's fleet was gone, cities across Earth lay in ruins, and the names of fallen ships like the Iron Will and Nightfall too echoed in every heart. Yet, instead of fear, humanity felt something new. Pride. The Predators had thrown their strongest fleets at Earth and failed. The planet killer itself had been destroyed, not by superior weapons, but by human courage. That sacrifice became a story told on every world, from the streets of Earth to the domes of Mars and the frozen tunnels of Europa. Children spoke of heroes, Soldiers swore oaths on their names, and even the council could no longer dismiss mankind as weak. The day finally came when the Galactic Council summoned humanity. Inside a great chamber that hovered above a burning star, the leaders of dozens of species gathered. Their voices were uneasy, their eyes filled with both curiosity and caution. No human had ever been invited to stand there before. Admiral Kalen walked forward, his dark uniform scarred from battle, his medals heavy on his chest. Behind him stood commanders, scientists, and even civilians who had helped in the fight. Together, they carried the weight of an entire species. The council's speaker, a tall alien with shimmering scales, raised its voice. Humanity. The predators came for you. They came to burn your home. Yet you still stand. You have proven something we did not expect. Whispers filled the chamber. Some alien delegates looked at the humans with respect. Others looked with fear. Kalen's voice was steady. We did not fight only for Earth. We fought for survival. The predators are not only our enemy. They are everyone's enemy. And we will not wait for them to strike again. The chamber grew quiet. You propose war? The scaled speaker asked. No, Kalen answered. We propose resistance. If the predators want to rule the galaxy through fear, then humanity will be the fire that burns in the dark. We will not hide. We will not kneel. And if they come again, we will meet them. For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then, one by one, alien delegates began to nod. Some struck their staffs against the ground, others raised claws or hands in agreement. Even those who feared humanity could not deny what they had seen. That day, the council gave humanity a place among them, not as a weak new species, but as warriors. The predators had meant to break Earth, but instead they had given it a voice that echoed across the stars. But while the council debated politics, far away in the dark, the predators were not finished. In a hidden system, their surviving warlords gathered. They spoke in growls and roars, their hatred burning hotter than ever. They had underestimated humanity, and they would not make the same mistake again. New weapons were already being built. New ships forged in silence. And in the shadows, the predators swore a single oath. The next war would not be for conquest. It would be for revenge. Back on Earth, humanity rebuilt. Factories worked day and night, dreadnought hulls rising once more from oceans and shipyards. Engineers on Mars designed weapons never before seen. Scientists on Europa cracked secrets of predator technology. And in the hearts of billions, the fire of unity burned. Children played not with wooden swords, but with models of ships like the Iron Will. Farmers on Earth sent food to space colonies without question. Soldiers trained harder, pilots flew faster, and every person knew they were part of something greater than themselves. Admiral Kalen stood once more at the window of the Eternal Resolve, orbiting Earth. Below him, the planet glowed blue and green, scarred but alive. Above, the stars stretched out, cold, endless, waiting. His voice was quiet, but it carried across the ship. They thought we were prey. They thought fear would break us. But humanity does not bow. Humanity does not kneel. We fight. And as long as even one of us still breathes, we will never be silent in the dark. The crew answered with a roar that shook the walls. And somewhere, deep in the void, the predators heard it too. Because now the galaxy knew. The age of silence was over. The age of humanity had begun.